Welcome friends to another Dune video. Today we examine the Axlotl tanks of the Tleilaxu and the many things they are used for during the original Dune novels and further, so general spoilers for those parts. Let's get straight into it. Using this tank, the Tleilaxu can with cells from a deceased body produce a physical clone of someone. It was Duncan, Alia shuddered. There could be only one answer. This was a Tleilaxu Gola, a being reconstructed from the dead flesh of the original. That original had perished, saving Paul. This could only be a product of the Axlotl tanks. The tank can also create face dancer assassins that can be deployed to meet the needs of the Tleilaxu. Zol had many siblings, face dancers grown here in the Axlotl tanks, mutable creatures loyal only to him and to his grand concealed plan. Later, they used to produce artificial spice. This was dubbed Amal and was being pushed by the Emperor so he could have complete control of spice, because it wouldn't just be from one place, Arrakis, it would be a place that he could control. In terms of producing it, the best person to produce it was a Bene Gesserit woman who is in the Axlotl tanks, who had been taken and placed in them. Amal, coffin-sized containers, held fertile women, their higher brain functions destroyed, their reflexes and sensors shut down. Axlotl tanks, nothing more than bloated wombs, biological factories far more sophisticated than any machine ever built by human hand. This was a first stage, but eventually the Tleilaxu do crack the market, so to speak, and find a way for spice to be produced through their tanks. Prior to this invention, the only way to find spice was on Arrakis, where sandworms made it as part of their life cycle. Later in the series, the Bene Gesserit suspect what remains in the tanks. But what could they possibly? Surrogate mothers. But they would have to be. Taraza fell silent, shocked by the possibilities this question opened. Who has ever seen a Tleilaxu female? Odrade asked. Building on this, the Reverend Mother Dawi Odrade draws a line with the Tleilaxu Master Waf. We will serve you in all ways except one, Taraza said. We will never become receptacles for Golas. Waf paled. Taraza continued. None of us is now, nor will ever become, she paused, an Axlotl tank. Genetic information could be placed into those in the tanks. Perhaps this is how some adjustments were made to the first Duncan Golas. One was a mentat, unlike the original, or perhaps this was just taught to the person later, after they had emerged from the tank. During the time of the Honoured Martres, the Bene Gesserit began to use the tanks for creation of their own Golas. When the Gola baby was delivered from the first Bene Gesserit Axlotl tank, Mother Superior Dawi Odrade ordered a quiet celebration in her private dining room atop Central. The last Tleilaxu Master Scytale had been convinced by the sisterhood to reveal the creation of the tanks, the secret only he held. According to the Dune Encyclopedia, the Axlotl tanks are the Tleilaxu's greatest achievement. It was developed in an early form to make lower forms of staff to serve the Tleilaxu, and was a result of long genetic research. As the Dune Encyclopedia says, the tanks were actually vessels for the end products and hosted a wide spectrum of activities centered on DNA recombination, which is kind of explained and covered by the various ways that they've been used that we've just gone over. It was refined over time. The basis of this technology is called the DNA touchstone template. It's the key to the basic mechanism and functioning of the fundamental double helix. With the technology unlocked, the Tleilaxu organised their manipulations into departments. As the Dune Encyclopedia says, one dealt with twisted mentats, one with the guild, one with sexual surrogates, the Baron might have employed that one unfortunately, one with religious engineering, one with Golas, one with face dancers, and still another with Tleilaxu archetypes and their Kwisatz Haderach program. These several departments and more overlapped, sharing knowledge and techniques as they were developed and were experienced by the people using the tanks. Each ultimately represented and was used in the Bene Tleilax commissaries, the supreme form. The tank was a symbol of their technology. No one has ever refined genetic engineering to the extent of the Tleilaxu. I hope you enjoyed this far-spanning video, and I'll see you in the next one.